I have a question for you. Have you ever gone to IKEA looking to purchase one thing, but ended up with a shopping cart full of stuff you never imagined purchasing? If you answered yes, well, you're not alone. Research shows that 60% of purchases at IKEA are impulse buys. So why do we find ourselves impulsively buying way too much stuff when we shop at IKEA? Well, that's actually by design. IKEA's unorthodox way of doing business, like their store layout that looks like a maze and their extremely cheap food court, all play into a psychological trick called the Gruen effect, a consumer behavior principle that inherently makes shoppers excessively spend. So what is the Gruen effect, and how does IKEA use it in their stores to get you to impulse buy? Well, the invention of the Gruen effect dates back to the 1950s when Austrian architect Victor Gruen first invented the shopping mall. Victor intended the shopping mall to be a place to socialize with friends and family, and while it did bring people together, psychologists discovered that it was way better at doing one thing: getting people to overspend. Unintentionally, Gruen set up his malls in a way that overwhelmed consumers, but in a good way. He used curved paths to create a sense of discovery and exploration. He utilized beautifully lit window displays to convince people to walk into stores. He put entertaining elements like fountains, seating areas, and more all throughout the mall to enhance the overall shopping experience. Psychologists discovered that these design elements and more triggered a mindset change in consumers. When they entered the mall, they were engrossed by this beautiful shopping experience that invigorated all of their senses, causing them to forget their original reason for going shopping, which in turn led them to shop only for shopping's sake. This phenomenon was later coined the Gruen effect, and it's the exact same principle that IKEA uses to get you to impulsively buy their products. So how do they implement the Gruen effect in their stores? Well, it's best to start with their maze-like store layout, of which was meticulously designed and jam-packed with ways to get you to spend more than what you planned on. IKEA breaks all the traditional rules of designing a retail store by leading customers through a preordained one-way path that winds through 50 showrooms. This design serves several purposes that play into the Gruen effect. It forces wider product exposure, giving customers more items to browse and hopefully impulse buy. It creates a false sense of scarcity. When shoppers pass by items they're on the fence about, they're inclined just to put them in their cart because they don't want to backtrack through the maze later on. And it creates a sense of mystery. Every 50 feet, the path breaks left or right. Shoppers never know what's around the next turn, which stokes their desire to continue exploring. But the tricks within the maze don't stop there. Along the maze, you'll find plenty other ways IKEA implements the Gruen effect in its stores. For example, you'll find mirrors placed everywhere within IKEA. They use mirrors to influence how customers perceive themselves and the products they're considering purchasing. So when you catch a glimpse of yourself in a mirror in an IKEA showroom, you're primed to believe you belong in it, which encourages you to spend. IKEA also implements the Diderot effect within its room displays. The Diderot effect is a concept that describes the phenomenon of how the acquisition of a new possession can lead to a spiral of consumption that ultimately results in impulse buying. For example, if someone buys a new smartphone, they might start to feel that their old accessories are no longer up to par, which could lead them to upgrade all of them for no logical reason. And this exact phenomenon is brilliantly utilized at IKEA through their well-designed showrooms showcasing complete room setups. For example, let's say you visit IKEA with the intention of purchasing a new bed frame. As you explore the showroom including the bed frame, your attention is captivated by a meticulously designed display featuring a fully furnished and coordinated bedroom. The inviting atmosphere and well-coordinated decor activate the Diderot effect, sparking a desire for more than just a bed frame. And suddenly, you might find yourself adding matching curtains, decorative pillows, and other complementary items to your shopping cart, even though you had no intention of buying those things in the first place. And on top of all of that, IKEA's store layout feeds directly into the Gruen effect through another tactic called bola merchandising. This is when retailers place numerous items, which are jumbled and stacked in large bins, to create the impression that a wide variety of products are available at low cost. This phenomenon is exemplified by IKEA's abundantly filled bins strategically placed throughout their maze, of which are filled with affordably priced products such as plush toys, slippers, and pillows. When you encounter one of these bins full of novel yet inexpensive items that resonate with you, your brain releases dopamine in response to the abundance and novelty, which directly contributes to the Gruen effect. With the abundance of tactics I mentioned previously, you might think the Gruen effect ends within the maze of IKEA. But you'd be wrong. That's because the Gruen effect is at play even beyond IKEA's maze. More specifically, within its iconic food court. IKEA does a whopping $2.4 billion in food sales per year. To put that in perspective, if you were to look at IKEA's food operation as a standalone business, it would rank as one of the 50 highest growing food chains in the world, right above IHOP. But the food at IKEA doesn't only have an impact on their bottom line. It also feeds into the Gruen effect and changes how customers think, feel, and act in the store. So, how does it do it? Well, eating and smelling food releases dopamine and creates a state of happiness, and that mood shift can directly affect how much customers spend and what they buy. IKEA knows this, which is exemplified by Gerd Dewald, a former head of IKEA food operations, saying, "We've always called the meatballs the best sofa seller. When you feed them, they stay longer, they can talk about their potential purchases, and they make a decision without leaving the store." And so, IKEA uses the smell of cinnamon buns and meatballs to encourage customers to stay longer in the store and hopefully buy more things. And this tactic has been proven to work big time. A 2012 study that surveyed 700 IKEA shoppers found that those who ate at the food court spent 2 times more on average than those who didn't. It's impressive how well IKEA has implemented one simple psychology trick to its stores and increased consumer spending. But what's equally as impressive is how Apple saved their entire business thanks to one commercial. To see how Apple redefined the advertising world, check out this video of mine where I dive into the complete story of their world famous 1984 commercial.